Welcome, everyone, to the NBA Triple Double Predictive Playbook Show. It's Friday, December the 3rd, 2021. I'm your host, John Ryan. Of course, my co host on this show every single time is my buddy Ronald. You can find him on Twitter at @U_Capper. And make sure you do if you're not following, because he was our best NBA analyst and better on SportsMemo last year. So that's enough reason to follow him for sure. Welcome to the show, Ronald. We're going to get started right now in a game that's on the early part of the card tonight. It's the Cleveland Cavaliers going up against the Washington Wizards at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Washington opened as a 4-point home favorite. They now drifted down to 3.5, despite the fact that 60% of the bets in terms of the tickets were on Washington. So it sounds like there's a little bit of smart money coming in on Cleveland. Where do you think the opportunity lies in this matchup?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is sort of like a matchup between two of the biggest surprises of the NBA season so far. The Cavs are winning with their defense, which is currently ranked third in the league in defensive rating. The defense is led by arguably one of the best defensive front court duos, Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen. And offensively, they tend to spread the love with seven players actually averaging over 10 points per game. And the Wizards, they pretty much have sort of like the same recipe for success, leaning on their defense and a balanced offense. Obviously, Bradley Beal is sort of like the leader of that team. He leads the team in both points per game and assists per game. But in the last few games, their defense actually has dropped a bit. They're actually ranked 24th in defensive rating in the last 5 games. So you kind of see a decline there. Compared to how they were doing earlier in the season. And with the total set pretty low already, and the decline in the Wizards defense, and also like sort of like the sudden uptick in fouls called and free throws attempted in the last few games, I'm going to be looking towards the side here. A majority of the Wizards points come in the paint, and I can't see them being too successful at that with Allen and Mobley down low for the Cavs. So I'm sort of giving the edge to the Cavs here in this matchup. I think the Cavs have a shot to win outright too. If the Cavs can get to an early lead, the Wizards, they're really not a great 3-point shooting team. So I don't expect them to come back too easily with right. Perimeter shots.
Yeah, I like the breakdown. Cleveland is going to be playing Utah and Milwaukee back to back on Saturday not Saturday, it's Sunday and Monday, and then Chicago. Wizards start a 3-game road trip next after this game. Do you think there's any reason that the Wizards would want to end a homestand with a positive win before they start, or is not a factor?
I think this is tough just because both teams, they do well in their current situation. So like I think the Wizards are 7-3 against the spread at home, and I think the Cavs are like I want to say 8-4 or 8-2. So they both have really good winning records in their current situation. And I think the look ahead spot that you mentioned on the Cavs and the Wizards, to be honest, I mean even though they're not the toughest opponents, they're going on a 3-game road trip, so they're both in a situation to sort of fall flat. But the reason why I'm going with the Cavs is mainly because of the defense, because with it, whether or not you fall flat offensively, defensive your defensive intensity in team defense, it really kind of sticks together in those situations.
Yeah. Yep, I can see those points exactly. And adding to the flavor of the Cavaliers here, they're 11-0 against the spread in their last 11 after scoring 100 or more points in their previous game. That's quite a streak.
Yeah.
Contrasting that, the Wizards are 1-5 in their last 6 after scoring 100 points or more in their previous game. So sounds like Cleveland ought to score 100 points tonight, and they'll have a good chance of winning with those trends.
Yeah, that sounds really good.
Yeah. Let's move on to the, I guess, a little bit more exciting matchup, in my opinion.
Yeah.
The team that refuses to lose, the Phoenix Suns, are +7 underdogs. And it only means that they could be playing one other team, and that's the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah.
The other day we mentioned that there's only 4 teams that are more than one game over 500 in the Western Conference, and obviously these are two of them, followed by the Utah Jazz at 14-7. And these two teams are 19-3 for the Suns, 18-3 for the Warriors. That's 37-6. And it's just remarkable play by both teams. And what's scary, I think, for the rest of the league, Ronald, is that they just seem to be getting more and more efficient and better at both ends of the court too. I found a couple interesting trends here involving the referees. JT Orr, in the last 10 games that he has been an official in a Suns game, the Suns have gone 8-2, and that dates back to January of 2018. So I'm not sure if that's really all that relevant. Benny Adams is another referee for tonight. Last 10 with the Suns involved, 7-3 against the spread. But guess what? The last 10 he's been an official in a Warriors game is also 7-3 against the number. And Bill Kennedy is the third referee for tonight's game. Not much of anything because he's an even 5-5 in the last 10 Suns games and 5-5 the last 10 Warriors games. I'm kind of mixed on this game, and I'm glad we're talking about it because you'll point me in the right direction, Ronald. So where do you see the opportunity?
Yeah, obviously this is a battle between two of the top teams in the league. It would have been nice to see both teams at full strength, though. The Suns are going to be without Booker, and he's going to be out for a few games, I think, like a week or so, or a week or two. And today, to be honest, I really don't think the Suns make it to 19 in a row without Booker. They came off a game. They beat the Warriors last week.
Right.
So this is sort of like a revenge spot for the Warriors, and the Warriors haven't played since then. But the Suns played yesterday, right? So there's a good amount of rest disparity between the two teams, both teams are defensive, 1 and 2 in the defensive rating in the league too, but the Warriors are by far the top team in net rating at 12.6, and with Booker out in this matchup, I just think that we sort of got a little bit of value on the Warriors side because the Suns beat the Pistons by double digits in their last game. And it kind of shows that maybe the Suns can, be just as efficient offensively and defensively without Booker. But again, it's the Pistons, not the Warriors. You know what I mean? So I think if the Suns didn't win by double digits, this line could have been around like 8.5. And that's kind of where I put that line at right now. But I know what's available is 7, and I've seen some go down to 6.5 and back up to 7. And so I think there's a little bit of value on the Warriors here, just because of that situation.
Yeah, and I agree. You hate to see a winning streak like this come to a screeching halt, but without Booker, they're up against it for sure. But they're only 7-point dogs. That team is so resilient. But I do agree with you that if you're going to put money on this game, it'd be on the Golden State Warriors side. Warriors are 11-2 against the number after having won 6 or 7 of their last 8 games this season. For people that like the over in this game, which I certainly wouldn't bet under in this game, but for a lean on the over, Phoenix 33-16. When playing 8 or more games in 14 days over the last 2 seasons, and 8 in 14 days is a lot of basketball. Mm-hmm. And with that said, Phoenix has San Antonio next on the 6th of December. Then they have 3 days rest. Then they have Boston, then 2 days rest, and then they're at the Clippers. So definitely keep that in mind, folks, when you're looking at the NBA matchups and the schedule, because Phoenix has gone through a tough stretch here, and it ends tonight. And they're going to be rested within another week, and that's good that they're not playing games because Booker's not available.
Yeah. So I think one thing on the total here, like I mentioned, but they're 1 and 2 in defensive rating in the league. And if people are going to think that the Suns are going to cover this, it would probably be a low scoring game because because Booker's gone, they're missing that offense. But defensively, I think they're able to kind of replace what he put out there. It's either like if it's the Suns, then it's probably going to go under, and if it's the Warriors, it's probably going to go over.
Makes sense to me. That's very good, Ronald. I like it. Our final game that we're breaking down here in the Triple Double NBA show is the LA Clippers. They're not really on the road, Ronald, now, are they? They're at the Staples Center, but they are the road team and playing the Los Angeles Lakers, who it's amazing how negative the headlines now are in LA. It's not something you see all that often, but the media is starting to come down on them pretty hard, and I guess rightfully so. They're 12-11. At the same time, the Clippers are 11-11. Both have been battling the COVID and injuries, and it's a tough matchup for both of these home teams. But the thing I think that sticks out here is they're both losing record teams against the spread, and the Clippers have played under the total quite a bit. Where do you see the opportunity in this matchup?
Yeah, so the Clippers, they're going to have Paul George for this matchup. He was on a rest day in the last game. And then the Lakers, they have a few game time decisions. There's LeBron, AD, and Avery Bradley all listed as game time decisions. And man, I really am struggling with the injury reports and players being called out like literally at game time. Like Giannis yesterday was called out. Nobody knew he was going to be out until they announced the starting lineups. At the game,
Right.
and so here it's really tough to kind of make a play in this situation. I think we got to wait it out to see who's going to be on in the game for the Lakers. But I think offensively, both of these teams are matched up pretty evenly. Both are actually in the bottom third of the league in offensive rating, but the Clippers do have an edge on the defensive side of the ball. They're fourth in the league in defensive rating, while the Lakers are 15th. And I think that whether or not the LeBron or AD plays, I think the Clippers will be able to cover this game, whatever the number may be with or without LeBron. I think the defense is going to kind of play a big role in this game. I definitely wouldn't place a bet until we hear who's in or out, because we're going to get a different number, right? Like if LeBron or AD plays, we're going to get more value on the Clippers side. And if they don't play, then, we're going to get an ugly number. So I would probably wait until we hear who's in and out. But I have a pretty solid feeling the Clippers will take this one.
I'm with you too, and I'm thinking while you were talking, like maybe doing 50% of your normal bet size. So if you're a $100 better, you put 50 on the Clippers now, and then see what the game time is. And if it goes to pick 'em, you've done well. I think to your point, I think the danger here is waiting till game time to see who's playing for the Lakers, because if exactly as you said it, if either one of them or both of them are playing, then that line's not going to be 1.5 or 2 like it is now.
Yeah.
It'll. So, I kind of, my gut tells me that I just have a gut that neither one's going to play. I don't have any facts on that, but that's why I think, waiting a little bit, like doing the 50% bet now and then adding later. I think that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
The Clippers are 16-3 against the spread, technically in a road game, and this classifies them as a road game on the database, where the total is 210 to 219.5 points over the last 2 seasons. So I think that also, the pace of play will favor it. And conversely, the Lakers with the same range, 210 to 219.5. A miserable, money-burning 11-13 against the number. So I'm with you. I think Clippers is the right side here, and I wouldn't be surprised if they won by double digits. I really would.
Yeah, it's very possible.
Absolutely. Well, that brings it to an end for our show. Let's recap quickly our best bets, because we don't want to get any confusion with leans that aren't going to be bets that we'll take to the window. But But I'm going to take the Golden State Warriors minus the 7 points as my show best bet.
Hmm.
And what do you have for us, Ronald?
Probably my best bet in this show is going to be the Cavs. I really have a good um like I have them winning this one outright. So yeah, that one's going to be my best bet.
And a little sprinkle on the money line, perhaps?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's 2.5, so you're probably not getting much bang for the buck on the money line. I like to get it at plus 150 and higher, just for what
Mm,
that's worth. Then I'll sprinkle it.
yeah.
And Golden State is a 7 point favorite as we're talking right now. I don't think that line's going to move very much between now and game time at 10 o'clock. So that's a wrap, and we're going to be back here on Monday. We want everybody to have a great weekend. It's going to be a fantastic weekend when you think about all the college football championship games coming up tomorrow, and then the NFL is really getting intense now because it's December football.
Yeah.
So it'll
Yeah.
be another great weekend of action in all the major sports and college basketball as well. Tonight, Ron, we got Iowa and Purdue. I have a video out there on Twitter right now on that breakdown. So go check that out if you have time. You have time. It's only a 2 minute video. So that'll be it for today's show. And on behalf of Ronald, myself, SportsMemo.com, the Predictive Playbook, and the NBA Triple Double Show, may all the wins be yours.